Ever had a Karen block your driveway and call it decorum? Gate Creek. That morning, my wife's state-marked truck flashed access denied, while Carol Benton, HOA, Queen of Whispering Oaks, held her clipboard like a sword. She said, "Community image," and waved the guard to take pictures, humiliation in daylight. Then, my wife opened the glove box chrome badge, catching the porch glare paper stamp, the sound of law sliding into place. Next week, that same gate swung wide under a new ordinance plaque, the clubhouse silent, the fine refunded. Beep, beep. The metal gate clanks, then freezes halfway like it changed its mind. Son jumps off the keypad screen and spells it in blocky green, "Access denied." I roll my window down. Morning. I call toward the booth. State vehicle. I'm just picking up Dana. Carol Benton steps into the heat like she owns it, linen blazer clipboard, the HOA president's smile that never reaches the eyes. She tips her chin at my wife's white 3/4-ton reflective unit numbers stenciled clean on the door. "We have community standards," she says, already palming the override. Her nails click on plastic. Up above, a red camera LED blinks twice, watching archiving. "You're making a mistake, ma'am," I say. "That truck is state-marked." The gate shutters backs up, then bites shut. Carol presses the mic. Visual harmony, she tells the speaker voice, sugared. Construction-grade trucks remain outside the entrance. "It's not construction," I say. "It's registered to the department." She smiles wider. "This truck stays out." Under the shade tree, 2 retirees lean forward like it's free matinee. One of them whispers decorum, as if the word can do the heavy lifting. I glance at the screen again. Access denied doesn't blink. Neither does Carol. "Look," I say, keeping my voice level, "I'll be 60 seconds. Dana left her laptop in the conference room. Carol points to the gravel pull-off. "Park there. We'll document the presence and forward to the board." Document what exactly? Non-compliant vehicle. Excess weight. Visual impact. She ticks each count with her pen. "Do you object to photographs?" "I object to bad policy," I say, "and to you inventing rules in a microphone." The guard pretends to retype my plate. The scanner emits one polite chirp. Access denied steadies like a verdict. Sir Carol says, tone syrup thick, you're within HOA boundaries. Either comply or be cited. By what section, I ask. She blinks once. "We'll have it for you." "Then open the gate," I say. "You're blocking state equipment from state work." "Community harmony first," she answers. "Please pull aside." Behind me, a sedan idles its turn signal, ticking a small, impatient metronome. I ease forward anyway, stopping just shy of the safety eye. The sensor wakes. The camera's red dot drips light across my dashboard. Jack Turner. Carol says into the mic like I needed reminding. "Don't test the system." The cicadas smear the morning like static. The flag cable taps the pole, tinny, nervous. My hands stay at 10 and 2 because men like me only look angry in someone else's minutes. "Let's keep it simple," I say. You log the plate. I roll through and everybody gets on with Thursday. She tilts the clipboard like a badge. "We're logging, sir." She nods at the guard. Photos. He steps out with a tablet. Click head on. Click the door decal with the state seal. Click rear bumper where the hitch receiver looks ugly against the HOA's carved stone sign. "Ma'am," I say, "don't do this. It's already done," Carol says. "Access denied is final for the day. For this truck. Or for me, for the image," she says, not missing a beat. I laugh once. "It doesn't travel far. You're going to bar a state vehicle and call it decorum." "Rules are rules," she answers. "Real ones are," I say. A golf cart hustles up from the clubhouse. A young staffer in a polo hands Carol a bundle of laminated flyers. She doesn't read them. She makes sure I see the act of receiving them. Theater helps power look real. "Post these at the bulletin board," she tells him. "Add the truck photo once the file uploads." "You're photographing my wife's truck," I say slower. "Her name's on the roster." "You sure that's the hill?" For half a second, the smile wobbles. "We have community standards," she repeats back on script. The sedan behind taps its horn short embarrassed like it didn't mean to. I put the shifter in park. Door chime dings because the belt's off now and the latch thinks I might open. I don't. I let the chime count the space between us. Here's what's going to happen, I say. I'll text my wife that your gate refused a state registration. I'll wait right here until she walks to this booth with her laptop. Nobody has to be a hero. Perfect, Carol says. We'll include your refusal to comply. Include this, I say. Raising my phone so the camera can read the unit number. The LED paints red dots across my knuckles. The retirees shift again, hungry for an ending. The guard lifts the tablet for one last shot, closer now, framing the windshield decal that says Fleet. He hesitates like the word stings. Done, Carol says. Thank you for your cooperation. You don't have it, I say. She taps the console. The gate jerks an inch, then clamps with a heavy steel clank I feel in the steering column. The engine idles. Heat wavers above the hood. Access denied doesn't move, and neither do I. The only motion left is that little red LED blinking like a metronome that plans to outlive us both. Dr. Chime. The engine settles. The camera keeps blinking. The yellow envelope flaps against the wiper like it's trying to escape. Violation notice. Farm 1207 sits bold across the front black ink HOA seal. The confidence of bureaucracy. I pull it free, feel the grit of dust against paper. They finally got around to paperwork, I mutter. Dana steps out of the truck, steady as always, sunlight flashing off her badge clip. She reads the heading once, jaw tightening. Unsightly vehicle, she says. That's new, I reply. Trucks cleaner than their pool filters. Inside the garage, the air smells of oil and effort. Dana lays the notice on the workbench, corners squared. The overhead light hums. The printer in the corner clicks awake as if it knows trouble's coming. Ray told me to call if they tried anything I say. Dana scans the notice with her phone. The flash blinks across the words like a siren. No signatures, she murmurs. Just that fake watermark they think makes it legal. I hit speaker. Beep, ring, ring. Deputy Hollis Ray answers. It's Jack. Got a yellow envelope with a number on it. Let me guess, Ray says, half chewing, half sighing. 481207, unsightly vehicle. Dana reads from the form. Visual disharmony, industrial implements visible from common area. Ray laughs once. Those people couldn't cite a speed limit sign right. Don't argue. Record everything. Roger that, Dana says. Every bully's letter sounds official. Ray adds until officials read it. The call clicks off. The printer whirs louder. Rolling out a label, filed, Fiercoin 1207. Dana peels it, sticks it on a manila folder. Now it's real, she says dryly. I lean against the bench. You're actually filing this? Just documenting, she replies. Evidence first, anger later. The laser scanner starts its hum. Blue light passes over the HOA letter like an X-ray of arrogance. Dana names the file WOHOA Violation Notice Wasir Twatu 07 Initial. Want me to sign a witness statement, I ask? Not yet, she says. Just remember how it looked when you found it. Folded. Smug. She almost smiles. Perfect description. I reach for the notice again. The ink smells fresh, sharp. They even added a QR code for online payment. Efficient extortion. Dana slides open the desk drawer, pulls out a small stamp. She presses it onto the page. Received deep red. Chain of custody, she says softly. I nod at the bulletin board where my invoices hang crooked. We'll need a log. She grabs a legal pad. Date time and the term they used, unsightly. Unsightly, I repeat slower. They should look in a mirror. She's already typing on her laptop, state header glowing blue. Each click sounds final. Incident 1, she says. Filed. I exhale. So now what? Next, we let the record grow. Outside the gate, camera probably still blinks. Inside, the printer feeds the next sheet like it's hungry. Dana prints a cover page stamped with the state crest, slides the HOA notice beneath, and tucks both into the folder. For the case system, she says. You're adding this to your official queue. It's administrative, she replies, and personal. I shake my head. They really don't know who they're picking a fight with. They'll learn, she says. On paper, we file in silence. The drawer sticks halfway, then glides shut. A small, satisfying click. For a second, we just listen, fan hum, printer cooling the outside cicadas filling the gaps between heartbeats. I look at the folder label again, 1207. Notice? Initial neat damming. That's their first shot, I say. And our first record, Dana answers. The LED on the printer blinks once, waiting for more instructions. None come. The garage smells like steel and ink and quiet defiance. The projector hums like a hive, and the words hit the screen before anyone can swallow their coffee. Next on the agenda, Turner vehicle violation. Folding chairs creak. The coffee urn clicks. Someone misses the spout and curses under their breath. In the corner, the American flag droops toward the potted ficus like it's tired of watching meetings. Carol Benton steps to the mic with a polished smile and a folder so thick it could stop traffic. Neighbors, she begins, voice pouring honey over gravel. Our community standards keep Whispering Oaks safe, harmonious, and beautiful. Item 5 concerns a non-compliant vehicle at the front gate. 2 rows back, Deputy Ray Hollis sits with his hat folded in his lap. Expression, neutral eyes alert. Dana sits beside me. Her phone camera light glows low, legal obvious. Carol sees it and smirks like she's above it. The projector switches to gate footage. My truck. Access denied blazing in green glass letters. The frame freezes on me, waiting at the line steering wheel steady in my hands. Here, Carol says, tapping the remote. You'll notice the disrespect parking at the sensor, refusing the pull-off, and frankly an unsightly industrial implement visible from the roadway. She nods toward the screen where a still of the receiver hitch fills 30 angry inches. Murmurs move across the room, little shoals of opinion. I stand without raising my voice. Jack Turner, I say to the secretary who's juggling a legal pad and a wheezing recorder. Please mark that I'm quoting law. I wait until her pen touches paper. State fleet vehicles are exempt from cosmetic HOA rules while performing scheduled duty. That's transportation code. I can hand you the section. Carol's smile turns porcelain. Sir, this is not a courtroom. We don't need theatrics, only courtesy. Courtesy is letting state equipment do its job, I say. The gate didn't. A man in a golf shirt whispers, "He's got a point." Another hisses back, "Shh." Carol changes slides. The screen shows a close-up of the yellow envelope under the wiper. We issued a notice under KR 1207. Clean, respectful, and by the book. Ray clears his throat from the back. By which book, he asks, soft enough to be polite, loud enough to be on the record. A few heads turn. Carol's fingers tense on the remote. By our bylaws, Deputy. We don't need outside interference, just clarity. Ray says, easy as a porch step. I take a breath. For the transcript, I say to the secretary, who looks grateful for an anchor. The notice lacked timestamp clerk initials and bylaw page reference. It included a QR code for payment. We scanned it and labeled it Filed FR 1207. We're preserving evidence. The secretary nods, fast pencil scratching. The recorder's red light holds steady, unblinking, unafraid. Carol regains her rhythm. The crux neighbors is standards. We can't allow noisy, unsightly. It's a diesel, I say. Idled for 2 minutes. No horn, no leaks, no trash. I keep my tone flat. You called it unsightly because you didn't like the receiver. That's taste, not safety. Dana keeps the phone steady. Light pools across her fingers, then across Carol's podium face. A woman in the 3rd row raises her hand. Didn't we let the landscaping crew park the chipper by the gate last month? Vendor. Exception, Carol says without looking. Scheduled improvement. What was my wife doing, I ask. Scheduled duty. Ray leans forward a fraction. Silent, but there. The room's temperature tilts. People stop pretending to sip. The projector throws a glare that paints everyone the same chalky color, the same scrutiny. They called it order, I say, to no one and everyone. I called it overreach. A couple of heads lift at that. Viral, ready words always make a different kind of silence. Carol's smile thins. Mr. Turner, she says we maintain standards. Your tone suggests hostility to community. My tone suggests fidelity to law, I answer. You can't outvote statute in a clubhouse. She taps the remote again too hard. The screen jumps to a blank desktop, then the HOA logo, then battery, then back. We will, if necessary, escalate to county, she announces, chin higher now. For enforcement. You can't outvote state law, I say calmly. And county won't outrank it either. That lands. Murmurs turn into little conversations. State trumps county. Is it really state-marked? I saw the seal. He's right. Carol takes a single step toward the edge of the dais, gaze tightening, calculating. Then we'll escalate to appropriate authorities. Great, I say. Start by writing the bylaw page on your notice. The secretary, bless her, mumbles. Noted and underlined something twice. Carol inhales, measured, theatrical. Regardless, we expect neighbors to respect the process. I respect due process. I reply. Your process skipped due. There's a laugh she can't shush fast enough. The projector hum spikes. The flag cord taps the staff like a metronome that only knows one song, tick, tick, tick. Record that Carol snaps toward the secretary. I am the secretary says, tapping the little recorder with her pen. Its red eye stares back without blinking. Ray adjusts his hat in his lap, but doesn't put it on a small, respectful refusal to armor up. He meets my eyes for a half-second and nods like a man telling another man to hold steady even if the road's washboard. Carol straightens her shoulders and addresses the room. Motion to authorize further action against the Turner vehicle letters fines, and if necessary, lien. A retiree near the aisle whispers, "Lien over a hitch order," Carol says. She looks out to count hands that aren't yet raised. Dana's phone stays live. I see the white reflection of the lens on the glossy surface of Carol's reading glasses, a bright coin of reality she can't rub off. Carol notices the same glare, flinches a millimeter, then locks her face again like shutters against a storm. "Madam President," I say, "you're on camera. You're also on transcript." Her jaw works. I see that she answers. "Good," I say. The projector fan drones. The coffee urn pops once. The attention isn't on the slides anymore, or on me. It sits on that white circle burning in her lenses like a headlight. Carol grips the remote and steps into the light to block it. The camera's reflection only grows brighter, a little sun she can't eclipse. And then she sees exactly what it is and who's holding it. The glare burns into her glasses. The clerk presses the rubber seal hard enough to bruise paper. Ink blooms blue on the top page. Citation $500. She tilts the packet toward the camera so the live stream can see it before sliding it to the edge of her desk. The county hearing room smells like carpet cleaner and old binders. Microphones buzz at a thin, nasal pitch. A digital counter in the corner shows live. 147, watching the number hopping when someone shares the link. Dana sits beside me, tote at her feet, folder tabs neat and surgical photos, bylaws and timestamps. Her thumb rests on the Photos tab, not moving. Her other hand keeps the pen cap from rolling. Control looks like nothing at all. Case 4, the hearing officer says, voice dry as printer paper. Whispering, Oaks, HOA versus Turner. Scope limited to HOA citation 412-07 and subsequent actions. Carol Benton steps to the lectern in a beige suit, the exact temperature of neutrality. She places both hands on the wood squares the folder and lifts her chin. Thank you, Officer Mills. Our community prides itself on image. Last Thursday, a non-compliant vehicle disrupted the flow at our entrance. Large industrial implements receiver hitch, I say. In plain view, she continues, and a refusal to respect posted guidance. Officer Mills glances at the clerk. We'll take statements in order. He turns to me. Mr. Turner. I lean into the mic. The feedback complains. I adjust back a half-inch. My wife's truck is registered to the state fleet. It was performing scheduled duty picking up project materials. HOA cosmetics don't apply to state vehicles under transportation code. The officer nods to the clerk. She types. The live stream counter clicks to 159. Carol smiles without teeth. Officer, this is not about statute. It's about decorum and visual harmony. The vehicle is unsightly. That is the language of our standards. Your standards don't outrank law, I say. I don't raise my voice. The mic makes everything sound louder than it is. You can't outvote state law. The quote hangs. Someone in the back coughs where a laugh should go. Dana slides the timestamps tab open just enough to show the top page. The clerk watches the movement like it's ballet, then looks away, embarrassed to admire efficiency. Officer Mills flips the front sheet. I have a copy of the HOA notice 812-07. No bylaw page reference, no timestamp, no clerk initials. There is a QR code for payment. Carol tilts her head, performs a mild surprise. We streamline for community convenience. Streamline is not substitute for authority, Mills says, and I see 3 people in the audience shift like chairs just got colder. Carol recovers. Officer, we also documented non-compliant behavior in a meeting. The Turner party displayed hostility, refused the pull-off, and I hold up a photo. The screen said, "Access denied." We didn't refuse the pull-off, we were denied the gate. The clerk angles a small document camera down. I slide the print under the lens. Green letters shout from the projector like they did in real life. Noted, the officer says. Ms. Benton, did your HOA place a notice on a state vehicle? We placed it on the windshield, she says. To notify. Did you cite a bylaw section beyond 812-07? His tone stays gentle and therefore heavy. Carol blinks. Our bylaws are comprehensive. Residents are responsible for reviewing them. So that's a no, Mills says, stacking the papers. I will log that as no page reference. Dana opens bylaws an inch. The printed pages fan like white fish scales. No drama, just gravity. The clerk pulls a new form and writes as she speaks the way county clerks do. Note HOA notice lacked citation specificity. Fee schedule not enumerated. State registration acknowledged. She underlines state. Carol tries a different road. Officer, we'd be happy to settle this administratively by assessing a community fine for disruption, say $500. It's reasonable. Mills looks at me. Mr. Turner, we won't pay a fee invented at a microphone, I say. We brought evidence instead. Dana sets the photos folder on the table edge still closed. The message is the weight, not the content. Carol inhales long and trained like a swimmer who knows how to hide effort. Then we move to formal citation for non-compliant parking, she says, fishing a pen from her jacket and tapping the clipboard. On whose authority, the officer asks. HOA authority, Carol answers. Noted, he says again, neutral as a line. The clerk takes a pre-printed form from a side tray, marks citation $500, and slides it along the path the document camera just cleared. Please sign Ms. Benton, she says. The live stream counter wobbles to 172. Carol blinks. I'm sorry. What am I signing? A record of your HOA's administrative act, the clerk says. You're the issuing party. Carol's lips thin, but she signs anyway. First name strong, last name shrinking. The pen digs a crescent into the paper at the curve of the B. Mills writes on his pad. Entering note. Non-compliant, HOA, act notice without authority. This is not a final ruling on liability, he says. Eyes flicking to the camera, but a procedural entry for the record. Officer Carroll says, surely we can discuss offline. We're online, Mills says without humor. The counter ticks 181. He turns my way. Mr. Turner, do you have anything else for the record? One sentence, I say. The HOA blocked a state-registered vehicle from performing scheduled duty and issued a notice without legal footing. Clerk. Got it, she says, stamp hovering. Dana's tote shifts by her shoe. A small case slides to the top, black leather worn smooth where a thumb would flip it. The flap eases back just enough for a dull silver glint to show nothing. Stated everything said. I see it. Mills sees it. The camera might if someone in the chat knows what to look for. Dana doesn't move to hide it or to show it. She just breathes even. Carol keeps talking to fill space. We only want harmony, she says. We only want compliance. Same I say, that's what law is for. The clerk lowers the stamp. Stamp received 03:17 p.m. Again this time on the note itself. The live stream chat blips into little hearts and question marks. Somewhere someone screenshots. Mills closes the folder. We'll reconvene after counsel reviews the materials. Until then, no enforcement against the Turners based on Taylor 12-07. Carol swallows. So, what happens now? Now, the officer says, stacking the papers so their edges are square, we let the record grow. Dana slides the tote a fraction closer. The badge case peaks higher, just the curve of metal, the promise of something formal waiting its turn. The mic hum lowers. The counter steadies at 189. And for the first time in days, the room feels like it's tilting our direction, even if only by a degree. The silver glint waits at the lip of the tote quiet patient. The glove box drops open and the chrome badge catches the diner light one clean flash across the booth like a promise. We're parked sideways to the roadside, BBQ smoke drifting in a sweet line past the window. The napkin holder throws our reflections back in thin chrome. Somewhere above the counter, a country radio hums about leaving and coming back too soft to pick a side. Dana turns the badge in her palm so it doesn't shout, just speaks. I wanted you to see it here, she says, voice low. Not in that room. I stare at the seal, the wreath, the number. Department of Transportation, I read. The letters look colder in steel. She nods once. State Investigator. I let the words sit. The pitmaster's bell dings. A tray lands. The door squeaks. Life keeps moving like it has no stake in any of this. How long, I ask. Since last spring, she says. Temporary assignment, infrastructure compliance. It's why they issued the truck. I look out at the lot, dust tire arcs, flyer taped to the drink machine that says pulled pork $7 in a hand that never met a ruler. My voice tries to pick quiet and mean at the same time. So when Carol taped 412-07 to the windshield, I filed an intake, Dana says, sliding a folder onto the table. Case ATX 178. Prelim. Sits in block letters, clean final. Photos, timestamps, meeting. Excerpts the moment the clerk stamped, received, 03:17 p.m. I didn't plan it. I prepared for it. I touched the folder like it might be warm. You didn't tell me. Because it changes how people act, she says, including you. Fair, I say, considering it. I might have walked in swinging words. You did fine, she says. You kept your hands at 10 and 2. You made a record. That mattered. The waitress drops 2 iced teas and slides away with a practiced smile that says she's heard everything that can be said in booths and still believes in tips. Dana opens the folder just enough to show a spine of evidence photos, bylaws, timestamps. The same tabs this time under a different seal. So this isn't a neighbor fight anymore, I say. It never was, she answers. It's compliance. They set rules. We set law. I breathe long and slow and feel something unclench. Personal anger has sharp edges. Legal leverage is a level. You planned this? I ask, softer than I meant to. She meets me straight on. No, she says. I prepared for it. The badge sits between us, not bragging. Outside, a pickup thumps bass through thin metal. A kid laughs near the sauce bar. The smell of smoke presses against the glass and then lets go. TX 178. I repeat. What does it mean right now? Preliminary review, she says. If needed, it becomes a formal case. I'm recusing from final authority, obviously. Conflict rules. but intake and preservation. That's by the book. Does Carol know? She knows something changed at the hearing? Dana says, "You saw her face when the clerk called their act non-compliant. People like that hear the word once and then hear it 5 times in their head. I think about the projector glare burning into her glasses, the pause, the swipe of her signature like someone running out of ink at the end of their name. She'll double down. She will," Dana says. "That's why records matter. Justice doesn't knock at files." I sip the tea. It tastes like cold and a little lemon. Ray's line is going to love that one. "He gets a copy," she says. "County, too. If the board tries to fine or lien again, they'll be filing into a folder that already says state in the header. The country song gives up. An ad for a Tractor Supply store takes its place without apology." I look back at the badge. It isn't dramatic. It's just what it is. Tell me the boundary, I say. What I can say, what I should hold. Say what happened, she answers. Hold your temper. Add time, place names. Keep decency and law in the same sentence. Let them move first on paper. We move second with proof. I nod. Finally makes sense why you kept asking me to describe the smells. Oil, ozone, arrogance, she says, unable to help the quick smile. Data points. The waitress returns with a tray of brisket and white bread stacked like a flag of truce. "You folks need anything else?" she asks. "We're good," I say. "Thanks." Dana glances at the glove box still open like a stage door. She slides the badge back into its case, closes it with a soft snick, and lays it on the folder. I watch her hands. Strong, steady, ink-stained. "I hate that they dragged you into it," I say. "They dragged themselves," she answers. "We're just giving the road a sign." "Not a gate," I say. "Not a gate," she repeats. For a heartbeat, quiet sets like lacquer. I hear the fan above the counter and the tight little clink of tongs in a pan. The anger that's been living at the base of my throat loosens. It doesn't leave. It changes jobs. "Dana," I say. Finally, someone fought back, I tell her, and it wasn't loud. She nods, accepting the sentence like a file name. "We'll put that near the end," she says. The phone on the table vibrates once short and official. Ping. The screen wakes to a banner, beep. The red tally light on the HOA podium blinks to life, steady and unblinking like an eye that won't let anyone look away. The recorder hums. The live stream timer starts counting. And for the first time, every word spoken in this room will belong to the record. The Whispering Oaks boardroom smells of burnt coffee and disinfectant. Rows of plastic chairs are filled with residents, some still wearing caps from yard work, others holding phones up to stream. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead, harsh revealing. Ray Hollis stands at the door posture like a signpost. He tapes a fresh document onto the glass with the precision of habit. Notice of State Inspection Case, TX 178. Whispers rise immediately, bouncing off the linoleum floor. "State inspection," someone mutters. For us, Dana steps to the podium. She doesn't need to raise her voice. The mic gives her gravity. "This inspection," she says, "is conducted under Transportation Code 4431, authority delegated by the State of Texas Department of Transportation Compliance Division." Carol Benton, HOA. President sits rigid at the board table. Her posture is a sentence. Dana opens a black binder, Inspection Record TX 178, and the spine creaks just loud enough for the room to fall silent. She slides the top page under the document camera. The projector whines. The image fills the wall. The state seal expands across the white screen. Silver circular absolute. The audience stills. Item 1, Dana says. Gate, access. Logs, Whispering Oaks, main entrance. On May 4th, 03:17 p.m. System flagged, access denied for a registered state vehicle. The gate was manually overridden to block entry. That constitutes unlawful obstruction. The clerk types keystrokes echoing. Carol leans forward face-angled for control. The HOA maintains aesthetic standards. The vehicle was not denied, only redirected for review. Dana looks at her calm but cutting. You mean stopped? Carol's smile twitches. We maintain decorum. You enforced obstruction, Dana says. There's a difference. She flips to a color printout photo of the gate monitor flashing green letters, "Access denied." The words light the wall again, as if history itself had waited to replay. Ray crosses the back of the room, sets his clipboard on the counter and folds his arms. He doesn't need to speak. His presence is punctuation. Item 2. Dana continues. Notice, Chart 12 to 07 violation ticket placed on a state-registered vehicle. No timestamp, no clerk initials, QR code, linked to private HOA account. The clerk looks up. Logged as non-compliant HOA act in county file, she says, typing. Carol straightens. Officer Mills already addressed this. Dana cuts her off softly, professionally. Not under oath, not under inspection. A few residents nod without meaning to. The live stream counter ticks upward, 228, watching comments flashing on side screens. She's reading their own bylaws back at them. Dana turns another page. The HOA used the term unsightly equipment to describe a state-issued vehicle performing public work. That language contradicts the Transportation Code and the community's own covenant exemption clause. Your own documents make your case invalid. A man in the back whispers. She's dismantling them line by line. Dana closes the binder halfway and looks at the board members. Authority means nothing without accountability. It isn't shouted. It lands like a verdict. The line will outlive this room. Phones tilt to capture it. The chat feed explodes with hearts, exclamation marks, and the word, finally. Carol shifts papers, trembling just enough for the mic to pick it up. Our intention was never hostile. We wanted order. Order, Dana says, requires law, not preference. Ray steps forward, his badge clipped to his belt but visible. Under state inspection protocol, he says we'll need your electronic gate log access key. Carol blinks. Right now, Ray nods. Standard procedure. The key fob trembles once between her fingers before she slides it across the table. The sound it makes, a single clack, lands like punctuation to an argument she can't finish. The clerk places it in an envelope and stamps, received 10:42 a.m. Dana checks the binder one last time. All exhibits recorded. Findings to be forwarded to county records and state council within 72 hours. HOA enforcement of 812-07 is suspended effective immediately. A low hum moves through the crowd, half disbelief, half relief. Someone claps once, unsure if it's allowed. Carol rises, face pale under the fluorescent light. We were trying to protect our image, she says. You don't understand the pressure of keeping order. Dana steps back from the podium. Order isn't control, Ms. Benton. It's consent. The room stays still. Even the air conditioning seems to hesitate. Jack watches from the third row, hands folded, jaw tight, but proud. He's not the center of this scene anymore, and that's the point. The power's been handed back to where it belonged, to the process, not the people. The clerk types the final line. The recorder clicks. Beep. On the wall, the state seal fills the screen again, its silver light washing across the table, across Carol's papers, across the faces that used to bow to her. Carol leans toward her microphone, desperate to reclaim a line. We'll appeal, she starts, but her voice breaks under static. The mic fizzles, cuts, and dies. The silence that follows is cleaner than applause. Ray signs the inspection form beside Dana. She signs next slow and exact, every stroke audible. Then she turns to the clerk file under TX 178 complete. The clerk stamps once more loud. Final. Stamp filed 11:03 a.m. And just like that, the meeting that began with gossip ends with law. The live stream counter freezes on 256, watching before the feed closes. Outside, sunlight hits the notice taped to the glass door. Notice of state inspection flutters once in the wind, but holds. Inside, Carol's shoulders collapse just slightly as the projector hums on. The red tally light stays solid, capturing every second until the recorder stops itself, proof, pulse, and justice in one steady glow. The gavel lands once clean. Wooden final. The sound folds the county courtroom into silence so complete I can hear the fluorescent ballast buzz. Whispering Oaks. Homeowners Association versus Turner. The judge says glasses, low voice, dry as paper. Ruling to be read into the record. At counsel table, the compliance order TX-178 lies on the clerk's desk, a yellow flag jutting up like a tab on the future. Dana sits with her hands folded, badge put away, authority now living in the documents instead of on her lapel. Ray stands behind the rail hat in his hands, the mentor loop nearly closed. The judge turns a page. First, the HOA citation under Peter 12-07. He looks over the top rim of his lenses. Void. Issued without specific bylaw citation timestamp or clerk initials. Included a QR code to a private account. Non-compliant administrative act. The clerk's keys clack. Stamp filed. Carol's shoulders square and then settle like a gate that forgot how to lock. Second, the attempted $500 fee. The judge continues. Vacated. All monies paid or assessed are to be refunded within 10 business days. He nods to the clerk. Prepare the order. A breath moves through the gallery neighbors who came to watch and found themselves witnesses. I keep my jaw still. Justice is loud enough without my help. Third, the judge says the court adopts inspection record TX-178 as persuasive authority regarding gate access and lane control. The HOA's denial of entry to a state-registered vehicle performing scheduled duty is prohibited. A permanent injunction will issue. He shifts his attention to the board table. Ms. Benton, please approach. Carol rises. Her heels sound hollow against linoleum. The clerk rotates a form to face her acknowledgement of order and compliance timeline. A thin line waits above her name. Do you understand the order, the judge asks? She swallows. We were only protecting our image. Your image? The judge says patient is not your law. He points to the line. The pen the clerk provides clicks once then again when Carol doesn't take it fast enough. Dana's eyes stay on the flag tab of TX-178. She doesn't need to say anything. The work is baked into the pages. Ray nods once, a small benediction for seeing something through. Miss Benton, the judge prompts. She takes the pen. For a moment it hovers ink tip poised above the paper like a tremor measuring itself. Then she signs first name firm, last name smaller, conceding letter by letter. The clerk lifts the form, shows the signature to the bench, and stamps it. Received, 11:58 a.m. The judge turns another page. Further, due to repeated misuse of administrative process and obstruction of lawful duty. Ms. Benton is removed from the office of HOA President effective immediately. The board will appoint an interim officer pursuant to its bylaws within 14 days. Until then, enforcement actions related to gate access and vehicle appearance are suspended. A rustle runs through the seats. Surprise. Then something that sounds like relief wearing its indoor voice. Carol's face stays composed, but the fingers of her left hand pinch a crease into an already creased folder. The judge looks at me. Mr. Turner, you have anything further for the record? Yes, Your Honor, I say, standing. We appreciate the court's ruling and the record that made it possible. He nods. That's how this building works, Mr. Turner. Records, first rulings follow. Dana glances my way and allows the smallest smile approval, not celebration. Outrage had its day. Today belongs to order. She closes the TX-178 binder edges squared and sets it on the clerk's tray like a delivered package. The judge addresses the room. To residents of Whispering Oaks, this order is not punishment. It's correction. Compliance isn't a burden when it keeps us from confusing preference with power. He taps the bench lightly, almost like a teacher at a chalkboard. For the live stream viewers, the gatekeeper just got gated. A ripple of soft laughter warms the walls. Phones tilt to capture the line. Somewhere captions are already writing themselves. The clerk brings forward a second sheet. Refund schedule. She says, handing it to Carol, "Sign to confirm receipt." Carol signs again. The pen still trembles before the ink sets. "Madam Clerk, the judge says enter the permanent injunction and the removal order. Notify County Council and the HOA's registered agent." Stamp entered. The sound is ceremonial, a capstone dropped onto weeks of building. He sets his gavel down and looks over us like a contractor inspecting a finished frame. This court prefers quiet compliance to noisy drama. See that the former continues. Ray exhales a breath. I've been waiting to hear the sound of a man shelving a file in his head. Mentor loop closed. Dana slides her chair back. Not triumphant, grounded. Finally, someone fought back, I whisper to her, and the record carried it. The record always does, she replies. The judge lifts another case folder from the stack and raps once. Next case, HOA compliance timeline. He pauses, eyes on the docket. Same association. Carol stares down at the table at the shape of her name drying in ink at the future that will now require proof before posture. The fluorescent wash doesn't flatter anyone, least of all pretense. The clerk gathers the signed compliance order and lays it atop TX 178. 2 artifacts, 1 story. The bailiff opens the side door. Hinges whisper a cooler, cleaner sound than applause. Court remains in session, the judge says. The gavel rises again, and the board learns what it means to stand on the far side of a gate that finally swings the right way. The gate hums before dawn, steady, mechanical, almost human in its rhythm. Then the hinges release with a soft whir, and the metal arms swing wide. Morning sunlight spills through the opening like a verdict finally carried out. For weeks, I'd imagined this moment louder. But peace doesn't need volume, it just needs to stay open. A new placard hangs beneath the keypad. Authorized vehicles only by state ordinance, TX 178. The letters gleam fresh in the early light. I catch my reflection in the aluminum steady for the first time in months. Behind me, the cul-de-sac smells of wet grass and coffee. Ray leans on his cruiser's hood, sipping from a paper cup. "Never thought I'd see this place without a fight," he says. Dana laughs softly, tablet in hand. "That's the point, Ray. We fought so we wouldn't have to again." She scrolls, finalizing the closure entry, Case TX 178, status resolved. Her badge rests beside the cup holder, turned face down. Resting. Carol's moving truck rumbles in the distance. A single chair in its bed, a few labeled boxes, HOA files, decor. Kitchen. She doesn't look back. The neighbors who once whispered now wave politely, an unspoken truce replacing gossip. Refund notices went out last night, direct deposits and paper checks. The board posted a statement online. Whispering Oaks acknowledges procedural error and will ensure future compliance. Simple words, hard-earned ones. I pick up the legacy placard from its wrapping. The screws clink in my palm, the sound small but permanent. Ray hands me the driver. "You earned the honor," he says. Dana raises her camera, only this time it's for memory, not evidence. Straight line, she tells me, smiling. I fasten the placard under the flagpole, aligning it to the morning. The screw bites into metal, 1 twist, 2, click. The sun flares across its surface as if blessing it. When I step back, the letters catch perfectly B. State Ordinance. That phrase means more than permission, now it means protection. Ray folds his coffee cup, crushes it once, tosses it in the truck bin. "So, what's next?" he asks. "Nothing," Dana says. "And that's everything." I nod. The breeze carries the smell of barbecue from somewhere down the road mixed with pine and the clean hiss of the gate's motor winding down. The neighborhood feels new, not rebuilt, just honest again. Kids' bikes line the sidewalk. The bulletin board that once hosted complaint memos now holds a flyer for Community Cookout Saturday 5 p.m., signed by interim president, not Carol. I look to the open gate. The road beyond glows gold, stretching toward town. For the first time, it looks like part of the same world again, not a border. Dana tucks the tablet away, closes the case file. "State case closed," she says. "Neighborhood case closed, too." Ray claps my shoulder. Justice doesn't need applause, he says. It just needs witnesses. I grin. We had plenty, he chuckles. Yeah, half the county. The three of us stand by the flagpole, the sound of cicadas giving way to morning birds. The flag flutters once, and I swear the gate hum answers it. For a second, everything stills, the house roofs shining, the sunlight touching each driveway, the scent of rain lingering on asphalt. Dana breaks the silence. You know, she says peace feels louder when justice does the talking. I look at the open gate again, wide and weightless. Finally, someone fought back. I pause, watching the sun crest over the hill the law did. The motor purrs once more as the gate cycles forward, smooth, certain, open. And the story of Whispering Oaks ends not with applause but with the sound of everything working the way it should. The gate stands open under morning light, the new placard shining like a medal earned through patience, authorized vehicles only, by state ordinance, TX 178. The air smells of coffee and wet grass. Someone straightens the flag, someone else waves. The county seal, still posted beside the gate, hums softly in the breeze, a quiet proof that systems can learn. Justice didn't roar here. It signed, stamped, and stayed. Peace feels louder when justice does the talking. Finally, someone fought back. Share your HOA story below your map might help someone redraw theirs.